You know, I want to start off, somebody asked me this the other day. Asked me, Dr. Dale, why do you do what you do? Why do you, whether it be you ranting about or against certain medications, vaccines, are you anti-medicine? Just anti-lies and corruption and profiteering on the suffering of others. That's what I'm against. I'm anti that. If I saw good in these things and the way they're using them and the people that are administering them or giving these drugs, you know what, I'd be all for it. I want to help people. I want to see people in less pain, less suffering, and living a healthier life. I don't want to see children dying, children neurologically traumatized and damaged and paralyzed. Again, I got the court cases to prove what I just said. Why do I do what I do? Well, for one, I've had a father had 2 heart attacks already, had stents put in, one of which was a medicated stent, but now we found out that the pharmaceutical companies actually lied about the safety of that stent, and now that hurts my dad more than if they just had a plain old metal stent in. Now, do I thank God for the doctors that are able to save his life in that emergency situation? Absolutely. That's one example. I have a grandmother who's had 11 back surgeries, and she always says, you know what? She's like, yeah, I listen sometimes to Dale's preaching on the YouTube or the Facebook. Yeah, my sermons. My grandmother's had 11 back surgeries, you know. Thank God it's by God's graces she's still alive. Man, when I adjust her, though, it's kind of comical because I'll adjust her. She doesn't need her blood pressure medications anymore because the blood pressure goes down when she's here, but a lot of times she'll still take them out of habit, and then she gets all lightheaded and has to lay down and doesn't get to hang out with the family. So it's kind of comical that, you know, she sees what an adjustment will do. But so brainwashing and thinking you got to take medication. So yes, ideal. Folks, I know some of you can relate that family is the hardest to reach, whether it be in terms of trying to teach them about the harms of a vaccine or a medication or whatever, you know, and they just sometimes don't want to listen. But, you know, she gets adjusted by me. I've got my mom. My mom's been, I moved my mom down here with me. I moved into Clarksville in 2010, I believe it was. And yeah, I've been here about 7 years in this community. Chose to come to this community because our military definitely needed better health care than what they were getting. They can get a lot of pills, a lot of drugs. But the reality is they need true restoration in their healing. And it is just baffling to me as a godsend, I believe so, to see the number of people, number of veterans that the VA is approving them. So I thank the medical physicians, I thank the doctors that are doing this now. I do chastise the doctors that literally tried to put one of my patients on narcotics and tell him he should take that because it's got more effective evidence behind it. Yeah, right, you're a joke of a physician. You don't deserve to have a license. Get out of the business of health care because it doesn't seem like you care. Trying to put him on narcotics, and they shipped him 6 months worth of antidepressant medications. He doesn't want any of that. He wants chiropractic care, and he had been paying out of pocket, getting well, staying well, and then he wants to utilize the VA and get them to pay for it, so he needs a medical physician's approval to do that. You know, that's like coming to me and saying, hey, doc, I need your approval, a chiropractor's approval for a dentist. What is going to a medical physician's? They don't have training in chiropractic care. They shouldn't be able to approve it or disprove it. Now, if they had research to show that we were more deadly than that we were doing harm to thousands and thousands of patients and millions of people are dying like they are under medical treatment, iatrogenic disease, look it up, actually kills. In just drugs, it's like the 3rd leading cause of death, just medications, drugs, hundreds, 400 and some thousand. Then you look at hospital-related accidents or errors. That's another 200 to 400,000 they estimate. That was a government evaluation, and then hospitals didn't want to actually correct them because the hospitals make money when they make mistakes. Because if they make a mistake, make a person worse, they get to treat them for longer and treat them with more interventions, and they make more money. So it's actually counter-profitable. It'd be productive for the good of people, but it's counterproductive and profitable for hospitals to actually track their errors and do right by people. So anyways, I'm ADD and I'm all over the place. Where was I going with all of this? Yeah, so anyways, moved a mom in down here with me, just helping her. But our VA, yes, that's right. The number of people that were, I've had several of our veterans come in. They're getting the VA to pay for it by approval. Neck pain, back pain, headaches, it's the primary things. You know, the autoimmune conditions. I had a military member that had RA, rheumatoid arthritis, was being ready to be med boarded out because the pain was so severe that he couldn't stand his life without medications. And again, I don't chastise the people that are seeking a way to get out of pain and end their suffering. Not in their life, God forbid. I don't ever want to see that happen. I want to see people restored and healed. But the reality is, I've got people coming in for RA, rheumatoid arthritis. I've got lupus patients, tons of autoimmune conditions here in this community because our military, and you know what gets injected into them, and tons of exposure to stressful situations and tons of toxins. So we've got to detox these guys and gals. We've got to get their spine right, just total destruction of their spine and damage with the rucksacks, the body armor, the helmets, just compressing their spines. They all need wellness chiropractic care, structural corrective chiropractic care, in my opinion. But this guy, no more pain. Literally within a few weeks, he's literally going through the med board process for rheumatoid arthritis because the pain is too great, and he's got to take these chemotherapy drugs to destroy his immune system and steroids, and he can't deploy on the medications, but he can't live without medications to treat the symptoms, which only helped a little bit, he said. And then I started adjusting. We specifically adjusted his atlas because the atlas is one of the key components, that key alignment area that is necessary for proper communication from the brain to the organ systems in the body and regulating inflammation in the immune system. So adjusting that, he heals. No more rheumatoid arthritis and has gone on to further increases in rank. Has since moved away, been deployed, just doing phenomenal. You can check his video testimony out online. I need to get those things up on my website. I don't even know if, because I'm like always studying and researching. I hardly get to actually put together a decent website. Need to get that done. That's me just ranting. I appreciate the people being on, but again, I've got a mother who's been suffering with fibromyalgia and depression, bipolar disorder from childhood, psychological traumas, losing her father at the age of 8. That is a major component of her health. From there, then, you know, she was a school teacher. She just literally went to parks and the zoo and, you know, always was going places with us as kids. So she was very physically fit, very active, doing tons of stuff, and then all of a sudden her health just starts going downhill. I'm going to speak a word of encouragement and hope in every person out there who's a teacher. Teaching is a very stressful job. It's a very detrimental job. You've got to sit at a computer. You've got to look down at a desk, get to grade papers. You got to deal with, you know, tough kids. You know, so you get the psychological and stress on that end, and then you've got the structural damage to your spine. Please, 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 I beg to you. I beg, get under good chiropractic care. Get under chiropractic care and do it for life. I am a chiropractor that says people need to be under everybody with the spine, unless you're spineless. So Senator Pan probably doesn't need it, and neither does Offit, right? I don't think those guys do. But again, if they repent for their sins and they turn away from doing deals with the devil in terms of the pharmakeia and witchcraft and sorcery and, you know, big pharma who profits over the suffering of people and harming children, if they turn away from that, then I would take that back and welcome them with open arms, with a hug into the life and restorative life of Jesus Christ can wash away their sins. Even them, I know, it's crazy. God can do anything. So, you know, but I've got a mom, fibromyalgia, just all kinds of problems, and her health went downhill pretty quickly. And so I moved her in here with me. In 4.5 years, she lived with me, and we adjusted her literally on a weekly basis. Just, she could only eat what I would buy. She was completely dependent on me in terms of finances, everything. You know, bad situation back home I needed to get her out of. Got her off of every single one of the medications. She's on like 15 different drugs at the time, strong narcotics, Oxycontin, all kinds of things. She even hid some of them from me because she said they were party pills. She told me and gave me one in a little baggie as like a souvenir for me, a trophy, which I don't even know where the darn thing is. I need to get rid of it and turn it into the police station. But folks, you know, I wish somebody would have got a hold of my mom a long time ago. Got her, because, you know, how do you take back 30 years of suffering and illness and just losses of relationships and family and just all kinds of traumas because of the loss of her health. Your health is the most important thing in your life, folks. Take care of it. If you lose your health, you lose everything, because there's not a thing in this world we can't experience to our fullest, whether it be the relationships with our spouses or our family or our friends, our children. Just everything is dependent on our health, folks. So do whatever you can to protect that. And I'm telling you right now, lifetime chiropractic care will make a difference in your lives. That was my family, but ultimately what shifted me from literally becoming a veterinarian and a marine biologist was the fact that my mom, or my aunt, so on my dad's side, my aunt actually was diagnosed with breast cancer, given chemotherapy, radiation, cut off her breast, of course, all the cut, poison, and burn, and didn't heal, but was told she was cancer-free because they cut off the area of her body where the tumor was found initially, where the disease symptom initially arose. But she was more unhealthy than she'd ever been in her entire life, and then wound up with lung cancer. And at that point in time, it was basically like a death sentence. Doctors really didn't believe that she would be able to make it. That's a poor prognosis, second go around, especially since you see chemotherapy and radiation that induces stem cells of cancer stem cells that are then resistant to chemotherapy and radiation. So then it's worse for you. And then they don't tell you about natural things. I'm telling everybody who's ever been through cancer, get and check out how Chris beat cancer. Great man of God. Great program he's got online. Check that out. But and I've got up on my website my top recommendations for cancer patients and individuals wanting to prevent cancer or help their body naturally fight off cancer. You can check that out online, and we get a small token of percentage off of any Amazon purchase through our website. So I appreciate that, and that helps support and keep this truck a-rolling. But she wound up going to a chiropractor, going to a natural, holistic chiropractor that totally changed her lifestyle, got her body detoxing, everything. But one of the pivotal things, one of the most, the greatest thing he did for her was release the nerve pressure on her spine that was causing problems, not only in her ability to heal her chest and her lungs. She had bad misalignments in her upper back and lower neck where the nerves branch out to her lungs and her breast tissue, inhibiting the ability for the body to properly communicate there and heal. But she was also very constipated. She goes 7 days without bowel movement. Simply put, you have to go number 2 to prevent cancer. You got to. So if you're constipated, if you can't go, if you've got diarrhea, if you got IBS, me personally, I had IBS, healed by chiropractic care, healed by the graces of the good Lord, but chiropractic has allowed me to heal because it was laying on of hands, the adjustments to the spine, removal of interference, and that's what allowed me to heal. But my aunt is still here when doctors medical system told her she basically had a death sentence, terminal cancer, and that drove me into chiropractic care. So love what I do, love preaching the truth. That's what I'm more passionate about than I love laying my hands on somebody, adjusting somebody. I mean, I got tons of kids here lately. I've got one more patient that's off his rheumatoid arthritis medications. I've got military members without back pain. I've got a guy that's literally been med boarded out for severe pain, been all addicted to narcotics, all kinds of stuff. The veteran, one adjustment says he feels better than he has in 7 years off of one adjustment, folks. Thank you, Jesus. Love what I do. Love what I do. Little kids right now with no more migraine headaches. I've got another child with breathing issues, no more asthma and breathing issues. I've been working on some kids with constipation lately, seeing phenomenal results with them. So your spine protects your nervous system. Simply put, get your spine checked and take care of it, because that structure protects the most vital organ in your body, which is your nervous system. So that's kind of a little bit about me and why I got into it, and already took 15 minutes, but we're going to get on with it. So that'll be one segment, Anthony. We're going to try and do more segments. And baby, I'm coming home, I promise, at some point tonight. We'll see where we get. Okay, let's go into this one. Let me make sure that I answer a good question online here. I had a question from Lee. One of the first questions I had was from Lee. She says, oh my God, this came through Facebook. You can message us through Facebook. I would really appreciate it if everybody could, though, message us through. I get a lot of messages on comments and stuff at times, and I don't always get to those. I always lose track of them. Facebook isn't really easy to do that. YouTube is a lot easier. But I try for some YouTube, but really I focus on the ones that come through the website. So Anthony will post that in the comments here on Facebook. But the website, you can submit questions or you can schedule a consultation. Consultations one-on-one are, there is a charge for that, but there is no charge if you want to submit questions, but I don't know exactly when I'm going to get to those questions. But I'm going to start doing a lot more of those when I can. And again, this is not for, this doesn't replace a doctor's recommendation. So at this moment in time, I have to put my doctorate degree over to the side. I'm not a chiropractor right now. I'm not giving direct medical or health advice. We're talking about information that may assist you in making good healthcare decisions for you and your family. So use this as an informational piece only. This is not FDA approved, I guess I should say, right? Which, when you find out what FDA actually approves and doesn't approve, you're going to be pretty upset, and you might not actually want to use anything that is FDA approved. Kind of funny. Lee says, "Oh my God, I found your video. Yes!" Exclamation point. I got to do that just because it's in type, right? I've been addicted to pain meds, so she watched last week's video on the opioid epidemic. Pain meds since 12, and I am now Subutex, on Subutex because nothing else helps my pain. I have severe dextroscoliosis, a severe form of scoliosis, but I'm messaging you to see if I can buy the oil for my papa. So he's going through cancer pain. He's on oxycodone for cancer, and it has gone now to his back, and he's going through chemo, and I know the oil will help that THC that I can't get here, but it could cure it. Yes, so raw cannabis with adequate amounts of THC, not heating it, not cooking it, not burning it, but consumption of the raw plant. It's amazing, not FDA approved, but found effective. If somebody had millions and millions and millions of dollars to be able to pay for the FDA to approve it, we would be able to have it. But problem is, it cures and heals and helps with so many different conditions. Cannabis is not approved. It's one to replace tons, because Big Pharma wouldn't be able to profit. So, but now, there is some potential for anti-cancer effects of even your lower THC, CBD, industrial hemp, so utilize that to the best ability. We have that online for sale. The prices change, so you can call the office for pricing. We can assist you with that if necessary. Find that on the website. But God made all the plants for a reason. Absolutely, completely agree with you on that. I cannot say it better. How do I get the oil for him? Get that from us. It's one of the only, I literally have talked to, and I'm not talking to them all. I know that there are some great farmers in our community up in Kentucky, down here in Tennessee, but I tell you, I love the farmers that I work with Tennessee Homegrown, and that's who I chose with. They got testing results on every single batch. They make it very, very quality. I see their production. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So, yes, that's fine with me. It's pronounced, so she told me her name, but we're going to go with Lee for now. She had it for mild pain, so she was, because I asked her, why did you go on a pain medication, an opioid, literally at 12 years old? Because of mild pain. Mild pain, like in pain. When I did something like running or jumping, and I did not meet pain meds, and then at 14, they put me on the daily. Then I became physically and mentally dependent at around 15 to 16, and it led into major drug use with Opanas, and at 17, IV meth and use at 19. By the grace of God, I've been on Subutex for 3 years and have 2 beautiful babies that were also, by the grace of God, not sick. Thank you, Jesus, for protecting those little babies. Because so many babies, I mean, thousands of babies in Tennessee are born with NAS, neonatal absentee syndrome. They're born dependent on opioid narcotics or pain medications, and the majority of them, it is caused by prescriptions, 80%. Again, check out the last week's video. So, doctor never told her once, never told me in my first pregnancy babies could be born addicted to the meds. He said my daughter would be totally fine and it was safer. Then 6 months later, I became pregnant with my son and wanted to get off of it, but they said the withdrawals would make me miscarry. Lies, all of it was lies for money, she says. And my papa had prostate cancer and is in spine stage 4. I know my Mima won't tell me because they know I'll be wrecked. So we're going to try and help Lee out here today. So what I want you to do, Lee, is I'm going to go through more prostate cancer things next week to help your papa. But intensive lifestyle changes can actually affect the progression of prostate cancer. So a major study completed in 2005, sadly, Journal of Urology still doesn't get this information out. I want to read you some of the reply by authors. While many people believe that changing diet and lifestyle decrease the quality of life, experimental group reported marked improvements in quality of life in contrast to many patients reported decrease in quality of life, including impotence and incontinence following conventional treatments, but literally could avoid conventional treatments if they got on a plant-based diet. Treatment needs to be potent for its effects to be statistically significant in smaller sample. While there is not a direct correlation between change in PSA and differences in progression or survival, PSA, so their PSA number doesn't. Folks, studies are even showing that higher PSA levels in men with prostate cancer could actually signal that their body's fighting off prostate cancer and effectively able to suppress metastatic cancer by the removal of the prostate, by suppression with drugs, chemical castration. If you look at the studies, more men are dying if they have their PSA checked, and more men are dying if they use conventional treatments for prostate cancer. Folks, the medical way. Now, if it's completely blocking the urethra and you cannot pee and go urinate, okay, there's need for medical intervention at that moment in time. Excuse me. But the reality is, no effective medical treatment for prostate cancer. Simple as that. If more men die if they're treated sooner, higher mortality in the group that is treated than non-treated cancer patients and non-tested men. You could use the blood test to actually help people, but they don't. But, so one of the things I'll go through next week is, and I have a video on it, and I did talk about it in a YouTube video. You can check it out. I think it's that one of the last YouTube videos that we put it on. There was the person asking about the resources for this reference of that study in terms of the, it's the anti-proliferative antioxidant activities of common vegetables, a comparative study. This is in food chemistry. And you look at some of the most potent, it's on the screen behind me, but if you look at some of the most potent vegetables for prostate cancer, right here, you got garlic, Brussels sprouts, green onions, leeks, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, yellow onion, cabbage. Throw all of that in a crock pot, make a soup out of it similar to the Hippocrates soup, load it up with garlic, load it up with Brussels sprouts, and eat as much as your grandpa, your papa can handle. Man, if men would be given this chart right here as soon as they have any elevated PSA and say, this is what you need to do, you need to stay down, every meal needs something from fiddlehead ferns on down, folks. You need to eat them. I don't know why that's not integrated into the best medical practice, because we still are not utilizing the information we have available to save lives. So while there is a direct correlation between change in PSA and not a direct correlation between PSA and different progression of survival, PSA is used as a primary endpoint measurement of virtually all standard treatments for prostate cancer. It is unusual for prostate cancer to metastasize if PSA levels are decreasing. If they're decreasing. That's naturally, though. Change in LNCAP, cell growth, in standard tests used by evaluating the effects of conventional treatment on prostate cancer in laboratories, and so should also be useful in evaluating the effects of diet and lifestyle changes. Although it is true that chemotherapy and radiation may kill normal as well as cancerous cells, we are not aware of any evidence that fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and soy of any evidence would kill normal healthy cells. Evidence suggests that the substances present in these foods, such as lycopene, flavonoids, sulforaphanes, omega-3 fatty acids, isoflavones. I need my mullein for my tea. I don't have any of that here with me. My throat is dry, so I apologize. Polyphenols, ligands, and other substances. Plant-based medicine reversing prostate cancer right there. Get that study, Lee. We'll get that to you to help you. But so transitioning from Lee's, just an example of somebody actually being affected by opioid narcotics and giving pain for scoliosis. Man, I wish they would have got her under a great chiropractic care. If you have severe scoliosis, if you've got curvatures, misalignment of your spine, get under chiropractic care. If you have severe enough scoliosis, I highly recommend the clearinstitute.org. Clear Institute, phenomenal chiropractors, intensive clinics to work on and correct and improve scoliosis. I appreciate everybody being online. I always like to kind of wrap it up with kind of looking at some of the comments and things. Becky, I appreciate being online. Michelle, Sarah, Marie, do you have any advice for alopecia? I'll get to that in a future one. I got to double check what I had. I read some research on that here recently. CBD and kratom, criminals, absolutely. Doreen says, only deaths have been combined with other things like alcohol and benzos. I read about it today. Awesome, Doreen. I appreciate you tuning in and being able to chime in on that subject. And that's the thing is when you look at it, it's the alcohol, it's these other drugs, it's money. I take a teaspoon every 6 hours as needed, helps many things. They aren't trying to hide it anymore. Vaccines, drugs, and money. Luke, appreciate you being online, sir. Felicia, what is kratom? Kratom is a tropical plant to Southeast Asia. It's a pain-relieving antidepressant and stimulant. Small amounts be used for energy as a stimulant in many traditional cultures and countries. That's what it is, Felicia. So Kelly, it's a plant relative to the coffee plant. So what do you do if your insurance doesn't pay for chiropractic care? You find one that has affordable rates and puts you on a lifetime wellness maintenance plan. Most people spend more on their cell phones than they would for chiropractic care in my office, and I know that some people aren't able to financially afford cell phones. I work with people to make sure that them and their families get chiropractic care, because I know that every person that's on my table getting adjusted, listening to the preaching and teaching that I have, is one less patient that's going to a medical physician to get put on a drug or narcotic that may lose their life, harm them or their family. I'm healing them, doing service to God into my community, as well as making sure that less money funnels in the hands of corrupt individuals. So you'll get care in my office, Dottie, if you need it. Doreen, black seed oil, yes. So she knows her plants. I like Doreen. Cool gal. Dottie, what do you do if your insurance doesn't pay? Chiropractic care, that one. Rebecca, what plant are you talking about? Kratom. Sorry about that. Anthony, if you see those questions come up, like what plant, we'll try and handle those in the future episodes and stuff. Or my kratom tag. And yeah, Doreen's helping a lot of people. I appreciate you being online there. Stock up while you can, Janice says, right? Rebecca, Google experience kratom or my kratom. Folks, FDA ban or try to ban all medicinal God-provided plants and foods. Yep, they are, Amber. I'll grab some copies and dispense them all at all our pediatrician offices tomorrow. Awesome, Amber. Amber, I may have to message me, Amber, if you're still online. That way I can send you the link to that, or what I said with that. I'll repeat the title of this, since I won't have the links up on the website for probably the end of the week. Fentanyl patch fatalities. We all have a role in prevention. Matthew Grissinger. So this is medication errors, fentanyl patch. It's on PubMed. It's a free PDF. Fentanyl patch fatalities. We all have a role in prevention. So this was published 2016. Get that, get it out to medical physicians, because they need to read that and realize before they were instrumental in the death of some child. Dreama, thank you for the truth. I appreciate you being online, Dreama. Share it, please. I hope to meet you tomorrow, Amber. We do desperately need help with our son. Awesome. So we'll see you soon. Carol, you will definitely be blessed for it also. Sarah, do you sell Kratom on Amazon like Wild Doc? I don't. I looked on it. Sarah, I looked at it on Amazon, and all I could find with books, I only looked through 1 or 2 pages. I tried to make a link to it, but I know there's other resources out there. I think Amazon kind of fares away from it because of the darn FDA lying about it. So, Rebecca, I'm a nurse. I've seen the effects of narcotics. Very sad to see drugs being pushed. Stopped working when vaccines became mandatory to be able to work. Wow. So Rebecca made a choice that nurses shouldn't have to make. She had to quit her job because she was not going to allow Big Pharma and the government to force her to poison herself. Rebecca, I commend you for that and appreciate the service that you did for other people, and continue to teach the truth, because you'll heal and you'll help so many more people outside of that medical community now that you're willing to fully speak for the truth and stand up for your own God-given rights. So Dottie says thank you. I appreciate y'all. Take care. Have a good night. I'm coming home, babe. Hey everybody, I'm the Wild Doc, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you hop on over to thewilddoc.com. Subscribe there for our newsletter and email campaign. Join in the conversation on Facebook, and let's transform the world by unleashing the power of natural healing.